Hello everyone and welcome to 40 Questions. My name is Stephen Walker and today I am interviewing Thunder Storm VanBrocklin.
Hi.
Hello Thunder. So before we begin, Thunder, your name is unique. Thunder Storm is your real name.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your name?
It's pretty simple. The PG version is when I was born, there was a thunderstorm. My uncle was rushing my mom to the hospital, huge storm, and the name stuck. Later, when I was a bit older in high school, my mom told me also while I was being conceived, thunder had struck or lightning had struck out in the yard outside, and so...
Okay, very interesting.
Stuck.
So, now, where are you from?
Michigan, originally.
So you are from the United States?
Yes, from the U.S.
And for, again, most people know the United States, but can you tell our audience where is the U.S.A.?
The U.S.A. is right in the middle of North America, in between Canada and Mexico.
Okay.
Michigan's up in the northern, sort of eastern side, or it's in the Midwest. It's the one shaped like a glove with all the lakes around it. We're surrounded by the Great Lakes.
Okay.
I'm from the Lower Peninsula. Traverse City is sort of up towards here. Do the Michigan thing.
The Michigan is the hand?
We always use the hand to identify where we're from. Traverse City is right up around here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so you are from the USA. Question 3 is nationality. What nationality are people from the USA?
Americans.
We are
generally
American. You are an American.
What people call themselves.
Right.
Abroad, we're Americans. Within the U.S., people tend to identify in specific groups, either like Mexican American, the broader Asian American or Chinese American, etc.
African American.
African American.
Right. That's true. Okay. And the population. What is the population of the USA?
It's around 300 million, 320 million.
About 320 million now.
Mm-hmm.
And the capital city is?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. And do you know what is the population of Washington, D.C.?
It's around 600,000 to 700,000.
Okay.
I think during the week it kind of swells up a bit because of all the people coming from outside areas,
right.
Extra workers.
Mm-hmm. All right, and in Unit 2, we talk about shapes, sizes, and appearances. And the flag, Old Glory.
Indeed.
What color is the flag of the United States?
Red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue. And can you describe it? What does the American flag look like?
Well, it's got 13 stripes going down, alternating between red and white. And then in the upper left-hand corner, there's a blue section with 50 white stars. Mm-hmm. The stars symbolize the 50 different states. The stripes symbolize the 13 colonies that originally broke away from England, from Great Britain. The colors themselves, white symbolizes, I believe, purity and innocence. The red part, like valor, I believe, sacrifice, something like that.
Okay.
And then the blue, I actually don't know what the blue stands for. Do you?
I have no idea.
Yeah, the blue is the one I'm not so sure about.
Right.
But red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue. And people. I know, now, I am also an American, and 300 million people, and it is a melting pot. But
country of immigrants.
It is. So questions 8 and 9 talk about appearances, and what would you say? What does the majority of women and men look like? How would you describe the people there?
Being a big place, it'll vary, I guess, depending on where you go. If you're in New York City, for example, you'll see something very different than where I'm from in Michigan. When I go to Michigan, one thing that I'm always a little bit surprised at when I go back is in Traverse City, most of the population most of them are Caucasian or white, and a bit on the heavier side of the spectrum. And then as you go for it's down in Detroit, the population's a bit more diverse. There's lots of African Americans as well as a large It was back in the 90s. It was the largest Arabic population outside of the Middle East. Was in
Detroit?
Western Detroit.
Okay, that's interesting.
Huge area, like Saddam Hussein. He got the key to the city of Detroit back in the 88
Really?
or something.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a huge Arab community there. So I mean, the city of Detroit itself is quite diverse. Lots of immigrants and stuff.
Okay, and so that's the majority. Question 10 is talking about minorities. What minorities live in the United States, or even Michigan?
By area, it'll depend. Where I grew up with, the first neighborhood I lived in America, I guess my mother was probably the only minority living in that small neighborhood.
And she is?
She's Mexican American and Native American.
Native American.
And at that time period, there was lots of different immigrant families. There was like Laotians, there's Mexicans, there's blacks. There was most of the, our city was also by American Indian Reservation, Pishabe's town, and most of the non-reservation population lived in our neighborhood.
And so Thunder, you are part Native American.
Yes.
And what tribe or nation were you?
My mom had always said Cherokee, but we didn't. I grew up around the Anishinabeg people, the reservation, and so those are the people.
What was the name of that one again? The
Anishinabeg. Anishinabeg.
Abeg. Okay.
They're Odawa.
Odawa.
The
Okay,
Three Fires Covenant. Chippewa, Ojibwe, Ottawa, Odawa. So that was the other probably the largest segment of the population was American Indian in that neighborhood, but lots of different other groups too.
Again, yeah, the United States it's a melting pot really, and so.
And Travers is
if you
normally.
can think of a country, chances are there will be someone from that country living in the United States. Moving into Unit 3, food tastes and ingredients. What is a traditional food that is eaten in the United States, Thunder?
Probably have to go with the turkey dinner.
Turkey dinner.
Usually there's some sort of turkey that's been cooked in an oven all day, stuffed.
And you eat this
for Thanksgiving or for
Okay.
Christmas.
All right. So special occasions?
Yeah, usually Thanksgiving and Christmas. Other things that come to mind, lots of like the Thanksgiving vegetables, like corn on the cob, potatoes, mashed potatoes, baked potatoes. Pumpkin pie was one of my favorites, so I always remember pumpkin pie.
All right, that's
skipping straight to dessert.
Pumpkin pie would probably be a traditional American dessert.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so let's talk about the pumpkin pie. It's one of my favorites as well. What would you say? What are some ingredients of pumpkin pie? If I were to make it. Pumpkins.
We've never made ours, but yeah, pumpkins. I imagine some sort of sugar. We used to put like whipped cream on ours, but that isn't like a necessary thing.
So you just buy it from a store?
Yeah, we used to.
If for those that have never tried pumpkin pie, how does a pumpkin pie taste? What would be an adjective or two?
When I bite into it, usually it has like it's a bit of a sweet taste. That's the main thing. It's sweet. And
so, Thanksgiving meal all together sitting on your table. How do you remember the smell? What would the smell of a Thanksgiving dinner?
Stuff coming, the turkey coming out of the oven with the stuffing, that sort of smell. Freshly baked stuff. What else? Rolls.
Rolls?
Yeah, we used to have rolls, like buttermilk rolls with the turkey and stuff. Melting butter.
Melting butter.
Pumpkin
savory,
pie comes savory.
I would say. Good adjective. And then the texture.
Yeah, the pie is
smooth.
Very smooth texture because it's a uniform. The pumpkin pie itself, it's entirely uniform, unlike a apple pie or something that has individual chunks of the fruit. A pumpkin pie is mashed up like pumpkins. It's sort of like mashed potatoes. There's one continuous consistency.
Right. All right, Thunder. So in Unit 4, we talk about weather, seasons, and landscapes. And America is a big country. What is the landscape like in the United States?
The landscape, it varies. From coast to coast and from top to bottom, you'll get all sorts of different
So let's
landscapes.
take a quick trip from the west to the east coast. If we're going
Starting on the West Coast, I mean, one of the reasons that people say it's such a wonderful place to live is that you can go skiing up in the mountains and then go hang out down on the beach in the same day.
Okay, so that's California coast.
So California has lots of mountains. It's also on the coast, so you have the beaches. Then going west, you have the Rocky Mountains and such. Northern, you get into the more of like larger kind of wooded areas, forested areas, and then down south you have the moving over down towards Mexico, you get into the Four Corners regions where there's
southwest part.
The southwest, where it has the largest portion of American Indian tribes are there. In that Four Corners area, it's just largely mountainous, sort of desert area. It's very beautiful.
Right.
Different colors in the mountains.
Red rock formations.
Yeah, it's very striking landscapes as you're driving through it.
And obviously the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon
is down there. We can't leave that out. And then moving east from the Rocky Mountains, what do we see?
You get the floodplains at some point. I haven't been down there, or been through there maybe once, but large kind of like flat grass plains.
Yeah, like the Midwest, where I am from. That's the plains, the Great Plains, actually.
Going south from there, past Texas, going south, you get the wetter kind of bayou type areas down south.
Mississippi and Louisiana.
I guess maybe American like jungles of some sort.
Swamps.
Yeah, large swamps, bayou areas.
Right. And then moving a bit farther east.
East Coast kind of mirrors the West Coast, except for that it's not as warm, I don't think.
So we're going to go over another series of mountains, which are the Appalachian Mountains. Yeah,
you hit that mountain range. I've done some hiking and some snowboarding in that area, and some of it's quite nice. The weather it gets pretty cold as you go further up east.
Right.
And towards the New England areas, it gets quite cold up there.
And is it mountainous up there?
Yeah, towards like Vermont and going like further up in Maine and stuff.
Right, and very wooded.
Yeah.
Question 17 is seasons. How many seasons are in the United States?
In Michigan, there's 4 distinct ones.
Right.
I visited Florida this last summer. To me, it seems like they have one season in Florida, but I'm sure they'll tell you that some people would tell you they have multiple there as well.
So what would you say? What in Florida, which is down south?
It's just always
far south as you can get.
It's always pleasant and hot.
Right.
But I guess the winter to them is some cold weather of maybe 68, 70 degrees.
But overall, the continental United States has 4 basic seasons.
Yeah.
Then you have Hawaii and Alaska, which are more like
I would say
2,
everywhere, if you in that floodplain area and up, I would say there's 4 distinct seasons from that sort of middle line and up. Almost all of those places will have the 4 seasons.
Okay, and Michigan. Do you have a favorite season in Michigan?
I really like all of the seasons. Going back, probably late summer, August is the best in the area where I grew up, because that's when all of the bodies of water are warm enough to swim in comfortably.
Okay, and the weather, what is the weather like in the summer then, if I were to go? Is it?
Generally it's very hot.
Yeah.
I mean it gets to be like 80, 85, something like that.
That's pretty pleasant actually.
Yeah, it is actually. Back then we used to think of it as hot. Now I think of it as it's
Is it
kind of
rainy
pleasant.
in the summertime up in the north?
I mean, so in the north we're right on the Great Lakes, and when you're that close to a body of water, you do get some pretty strong storms. I'll send you a picture later that of a storm I got caught in 2 summers ago, and you see it. There's this massive storm front coming in that dwarfs any sort of tornado or anything, and you can just see it just rolling in incredibly quick.
Which lake is next to Michigan? Well, Lake Michigan, I guess. Yeah.
Michigan, Superior, Ontario, Erie, and
Huron. Question 19, we talk about natural disasters. United States is a very big country. What natural disasters does the United States experience?
Being a big country, I mean, there's the areas of the country that are on fault lines, like over in California, they have the earthquakes.
Right.
Going further south into the east, where I visited this summer in Florida, they're right on the coast, Gulf of Mexico, they get huge hurricanes and tropical storms that basically just blow everything over. The floodplains, they flood.
Floods and
tornadoes.
It's Tornado Alley, actually, from the north down to the south.
It's amazing that people choose to live there.
I've never seen one, but
They sound scary.
I've seen after what has happened. But,
yeah, I have too.
Yeah, hurricanes, pretty scary as well. And earthquakes.
I think a year or two before I was born, the snowstorms were so bad that people woke up. Their doors are completely barricaded with snow, and for a few days they had people running around with snowmobiles taking grocery.
So, yeah, Michigan, you have blizzards. Holidays. What is an important holiday in the United States? What do you think? Or one of your favorites? What would
I'll try to choose one that I think is kind of unique, I suppose. Halloween. So similar to other holidays, people will decorate. Some people will decorate their houses, put up things related to Halloween, which are usually some sorts of like scary characters, like witches and vampires, zombies, and stuff like that. Skeletons, bats. It goes back. I'm not really sure what the origins of Halloween are.
All Hallows Eve, wasn't it?
All Hallows Eve.
Kind of a pagan holiday back in the day, I think.
So people decorate their houses, decorate their yards, and then children. It's a holiday. It's a lot about the children more than anything else. And children get dressed up as all sorts of things. It doesn't have to be scary stuff. Whatever their maybe favorite cartoon characters are, whatever they're really interested in, whatever they think's fun.
And then what, they get dressed up, and then what? What do they do? Parents
take them around in the neighborhood they probably deem as safe, and knock door to door, and they say trick or treat. And usually people, give them candy. Sometimes there'll be people that'll say trick, and then they have to do some sort of like trick. It's just a way of for old people to give kids a hard time.
Right.
But yeah, they get a bunch of candy, and the dentist profit all in all.
Yeah, there you go.
But I mean, it's a fun holiday for kids. It's transformed a little bit. I mean, adults tend to have a lot of fun with it too.
More adult parties, and they still like they still like to dress up.
The costume parties, it gives some people an excuse to dress in ways that they might not otherwise dress.
Right. Okay, Thunder, moving into Unit 5, ports, transportation, and accommodation. If I were to fly into the United States, what is one of the main international airports that we could fly to?
You could fly into Chicago O'Hare, you could fly into LA, New York, LAX.
Okay, now we are in the United States, and it's obviously a developed country, but question 22 is what are some modes of transportation that we can take? Maybe aside from, Americans love their cars, but what are some other modes if we were to take a trip around?
The two places I recently went, Detroit and Traverse City. Detroit, they do have a bus system. I mean, it's mostly by car, but there's a bus system. They also recently put in a sky train that went around the basic parts of the city that connected the casino and a couple other places.
Okay.
There's that. They also recently put a tram in. And I think for the first year it's going to be free, but they have a tram that kind of extends that basic sky train area. So there's tram, SkyTrain, buses, and then up in Traverse.
Does Detroit have a subway?
No, it doesn't. Traverse has buses. A lot of people get around by bikes
Okay.
because it's a smaller city. It's very nice, very pretty to ride around. They also have like a little kayak tour that people
Kayaks.
sometimes take. There's a river that goes down the middle of the city.
What's the river?
Boardman River.
Boardman? Okay.
I went down there and there was this massive amount of people just taking like a brewery tour on kayaks down the
Alright, very
middle of
good.
the city,
Cool.
which is very interesting.
All right. And so, okay, we're up in Detroit in Traverse City, and we need a place to stay. What is a nice hotel to stay at up in Michigan?
There's some up near the reservation, but I guess downtown Traverse City, the Park Place.
The Park Place
Hotel is probably the nicer, more well-known place. It's the highest up, has the nicest view of the bay.
Do you know of some amenities that we can expect to find?
It's a nicer hotel. It's a nicer upper-class hotel. They have nice restaurants and stuff. They have like a swimming pool, hot tub, sauna, stuff like that.
Okay.
The rooms themselves, they have a variety of the rooms. The nicer ones will probably have real nice like jacuzzis in them, I'd imagine.
Sounds good. Now, question 25, this is for other countries because it's the exchange rate in dollars. So obviously the United States, we use the American dollar, and it is a world currency. So we'll skip that question and move into Unit 6. Unit 6 is greetings, gestures, and customs. Hello,
All right,
Thunder.
let's give it a try.
Okay, so question 26. We're in America. What greeting is commonly used in the United States?
Hi, hello, how's it going? Those are just common ones in the Midwest. East Coast, West Coast, different areas. You probably, depending on the age group and stuff, you might hear what's up or something of that nature.
Right. Okay. And gestures, hand gestures, body gestures. What gestures are used?
People are saying hi, or they're trying to get attention. They might kind of wave goodbye.
Okay.
People will, they'll point to things. The index finger. That's
okay.
not
One finger.
Pointing at things. In some countries, that's not so common or appreciated.
Yeah. But in the United States,
yeah, just point. Yeah, that one over there.
hey, you come here. No problem.
You.
Right.
Yeah.
And impolite. What are some gestures that are impolite in the United States?
So the middle finger, the bird.
Bird.
That's offensive. You definitely don't want to be giving that to people.
Right.
You have the underarm. Like up yours. That's another one.
The big forearm salute.
Yeah. That's another one you don't want to be using. Those are a bit more intentional ones.
Right.
I can't
Those
think
are
of any unintentional.
The timeless classics. And customs. What would be an interesting custom in the United States?
One thing that a friend of ours has pointed out is that me and some of the other people from Michigan, when we're in restaurants, we tend to interact with the waiters and waitresses a little bit more. It's a little bit more give and take, a little bit more sometimes a little bit of teasing, playing, there's a little bit more conversation. That's not always so common in like other places I've been.
So just being more friendly with the wait staff?
Yeah, friendly, a bit more talkative, a little bit more social.
And how about like at home? If you invite me over to your home, is there anything that I should know or bring? Or like in Korea, a big custom is you walk in and you take your shoes off. That's an important custom to know.
I guess that maybe at a housewarming party, people might bring a gift or something.
What kind of any specific gift?
There are gifts that I know some people don't like to get, like plants or puppies, or things that you have to take care of.
Who doesn't like a plant? Come on.
You have to take care of it. And then when I come over to your house and, Steve, why is the plant that I gave you, why is it dead? Now, that doesn't look like the plant I gave you. What happened to the one I gave you?
The puppy ate it.
Yeah. Where's the puppy?
Well, that's another story. Okay, moving forward into, well, question 30, religion. Religions in the United States?
Just about everyone under the sun, it seems
Yeah.
like. Where I grew up, there's lots of, I want to say it was predominantly Christian. There's also some Catholics too, and a few Jehovah's Witnesses, and the American Indian community I knew, they were a bit more, tendency to be a bit more Christian when I was growing up. And then now that I'm an adult, there's a lot of people that are going back to their own roots and getting in touch with their own spirituality and their own tribes, customs, and religions.
Okay, that's interesting.
But yeah, there's quite a bit of different ones. Lots of atheists too.
Atheists and Scientology.
What's the nice way that sometimes people, what they say when they don't want to say what religion they are? When they don't want to say atheist, they'll say...
Agnostic?
Yeah, there you go.
Agnostics? I just don't know. Okay, and moving into Unit 7 is landmarks, activities, and things to do. There are a lot in the United States of all three of these things. But the question is, where is a good place to go sightseeing in the United States? What would you recommend?
Depends on what you're into.
Right.
In Michigan, one of the areas that I like is the sand dunes.
Okay.
And they have these massive mountain-esque sand dunes that they don't dead drop, but they're pretty steep incline out straight to Lake Michigan.
Okay.
And sometimes people, they go run down them. I mean, it's hundreds of feet down, and sometimes they can't come back up. Sometimes they just have to walk to the next town because it's so steep.
Interesting.
That whole area is very beautiful. It's one of the top 10 spots, I think, in the U.S.
One more?
Las Vegas. A lot of people like Las Vegas. There's all sorts of different
sightseeing in Vegas?
Outside of Las Vegas, I mean, there's the Grand Canyons. If you're up for it, you can take a helicopter tour of that area, see the Grand Canyons.
Hoover Dam.
Hoover Dam. So I mean, there's that type of stuff, and then there's Las Vegas itself.
Right.
All the different casinos have their different themes, and there's a lot of cool stuff to see in them.
A lot to do there. Question 32 is about famous landmarks. What are some famous landmarks in the United States?
Where the faces of the presidents were carved into.
Mount Rushmore?
But yeah, Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore. Yeah, all the faces, I mean, that's pretty iconic. The Washington Monument.
In Washington, D.C.
Statue of Lincoln.
Lincoln Memorial in D.C.
So that's, those are the main ones, I guess, that come to mind.
Statue of Liberty, obviously.
Oh yeah, Statue of Liberty.
Lady Liberty, that's a big one. Golden Gate Bridge.
Golden Gate Bridge, right.
And activities. What are some activities that people do in America?
This is a tricky one because it's such a big place. So one thing that we were talking about earlier is the sports. A lot of people are into sports, so watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Americans love their sports.
Video games, I would say, tend to span lots of different regions.
Okay.
Lots of people into video games. And then in specific areas, I mean, lots of people, they bike, or if they live out by the coast or something, they might surf or spend more time out on the beach.
Yeah, or just hiking through the mountains. And
yeah, forest walks and nature trails, stuff like that.
Right. Question 34 is talking about an activity that you enjoy. So what activity do you enjoy doing, Thunder?
When I was younger, one of the things I liked doing the most was just getting a big group of people together, getting on inner tubes, and just floating down the river for hours.
Okay.
That was probably one of the funnest things we did.
And the question is where is a good place to do it? So if I was visiting you up in
Traverse City,
where could we go?
Either the Platte River or the Boardman River. The Boardman River is right in Traverse, so you basically just have to follow it far enough up.
Okay. And question 35, people watching. Where's a good place to go people watching in the United States? And don't say Walmart.
You stole my thunder.
Bada bing.
I mean, New York. I would say some of the maybe bigger cities like New York. Oh, Boston, Harvard Square.
Harvard Square, okay.
Harvard Square is a fun place to people watch.
Right. Like
all
street
sorts
performers?
Yeah, street performers. They have this big outdoor cafe area with a bunch of, where all the tables are checkered for like either checkers or chess.
Okay.
So you see people just hanging out there, drinking coffee, playing chess, street performers, stuff like that.
All right, Thunder, we're already on Unit 8. Music, pop culture, and famous people.
This is going to be the hardest for me.
Yeah? I'll help you get through it.
All right, let's do it.
So, question 36 is about music. What kinds of music are popular in the United States?
If I have to think of two types of music that have just been continuously popular throughout the last 20, 30 years, probably hip-hop and country music.
Two that don't mix well together.
Not at all. But those two,
Oil and water.
They have a very solid base.
Mm-hmm.
Different areas or throughout the U.S. And they're both here to stay. The other kinds, I mean, pop music just kind of changes, you know, with each
Popular,
decade. Yeah.
Whatever is the flavor of the day there. And then, of course, blues and jazz, which were born down south in Louisiana and moved up through Chicago and whatnot. But yeah, the United States, it's been a hotbed for different types of music. And famous people. What famous people are from the United States that you would like to tell us about?
When I was back in Detroit, I went and visited the Motown Museum.
Okay.
That was kind of interesting.
Motown, Motor Town,
Yeah.
Motor City, which is
Detroit.
Detroit.
So in the Motown Museum, they basically had all the Motown artists. There's lots of like
Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, sorry, Marvin Gaye, the Jackson family, like they're a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
But they go through and they have a bunch of different like houses that they're all working out of.
Okay.
Other people that are famous in America, famous people, like celebrities.
Yeah, it can be.
I mean, actors in Hollywood. There's
actors, actresses, musicians, famous outlaws. Who you know?
I'm afraid I'm going to tell you one of my favorite celebrities, and they're going to turn out to be Canadian.
And who would be?
I like Edward Norton.
Edward Norton. Okay, I think he's.
I think he is. But
I'll have to do my research on him.
Christian Bale, another one of my favorite actors.
All right, here's the question we've all been waiting for. Question 38. Who is the president of the United States of America, Thunder?
You didn't say leader there.
Or leader.
Or leader. The president of the United States of America is Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Now, when I lived in America many years ago, he was a businessman and
tycoon,
kind of on TV, but now
he definitely is the president now.
He is the POTUS,
the chief executive, the high up guy,
the big kahuna.
Yeah.
Moving forward, question 39, subculture. Can you tell us about maybe one or two unique subcultures that exist in the United States?
One that was kind of surprising to me that I didn't know existed because I had moved out of the U.S. in 2004. I came back and one of my friends had told me, or I'd heard some people talk about hipsters.
Hipsters, okay.
And I had no idea what a hipster was.
What is a hipster? Hip hop? Does it have to do with hip hop?
No. Hipster has this the idea like something is hip to something, or you're cool to something.
Cool.
Something that's cool, popular. Okay. They're always chasing like the newest cool, and the newest cool for the longest time was like retro stuff. So like trucker hats and PBR beer, stuff that was in poor taste was like cool, I guess.
Okay.
I think their mindset always looking for something that's new or interesting, cool that people haven't heard of
sounds
before.
Sounds good. I mean, who doesn't want something new and interesting? And
I was accused of being a hipster who hadn't come out of the closet yet.
Oh, really?
I didn't know what it meant, and I was like, what do you mean? So that's it. And so I went through, explained it all.
Okay. So would you consider yourself a hipster?
No, not at all. I mean, he was like, you're interested in tea now. Tea these days is popular. Cool. And I'm like, I'm interested in tea because I moved to Asia. I've lived in Asia
and it's good for you.
I've lived in Asia for 10
good.
years. And he's like, well, of course you are. That's the perfect excuse for a hipster. So it couldn't win. I just gave
up. All the cool hipsters moved to Asia 10 years ago. All right, Thunder, this is it. This is the last question, number 40. Are you ready for it?
I think so.
Okay. What is the national flower of the USA?
The red rose.
The red rose.
We have the rose garden in the White House.
Yeah, that's true.
How did it become the national flower?
It happened during the Reagan era, Ronald Reagan. So why they chose the red rose, I don't know, but it's all about love.
He was an actor, loved by the people?
Possibly. All right, Thunder, thank you very much for your time. And until next time, my name is Stephen Walker, and this is 40 Questions. Bye-bye.